wants a broken mate after all?" Lucas sneered at me, with hatred in his eyes. "I will rather remain mateless than to be married to someone like you, Lucas. You disgust me!" I fired back, both of us glaring at each other, making it obvious that we could not stand the sight of each other. Lucas was the junior brother of the alpha of the Ice-crest Moon Pack, powerful and feared by everyone, including our neighboring wolf packs. He is the chief warrior of the Ice-crest Wolf Pack and has bagged many different laurels to this credit. He is a notorious bully who uses his position to lure innocent young girls to bed, and to those who refused his biddings, he will forcefully take, and nobody dares question him. Several occasions, he had attracted intertribal wars to the pack because of his notorious act, and in almost of all the occasions, he had emerged winner due to his powers and the powerful alliances he had gotten for the pack. And after such intertribal wars, he would come back to the pack triumphantly with captives who would later become slaves in the palace. I was not born of royal blood, but I was raised and I grew up in the palace. My late father, Alpha Sapphire, was the leader of my wolf pack, the smallest family in Ice-crest clan, who is not too many in number nor powerful enough to protect our territory. When I was barely 8 years old, a war broke out in our clan which took the life of my father and caused the loss of my pack family. And the Alpha King, Alpha Magnus, seized our family land and declared it a possession of the royal family, and also took my mother in and made her one of his wives. And on my mother's request, he allowed me come live in the palace with my mother, and I was raised as one of the members of the royal family. Living in the palace then was very difficult for me, especially whenever I remembered that my father died because of the Alpha King, and my family inheritance taken away from us by him. I couldn't help but feel even more hatred for him. With the help of my mother, who is now one of the king's wife, and the maids and royal servants of the palace, who loved and cared for me due to my mother's kindness towards them, I began to loosen up and lived freely in the palace. There is no point in crying over spilled milk, Naomi. Alpha Magnus is kind enough to take us in as members of his family instead of slaves. Why not let us enjoy these moments while it lasts, especially when we cannot do anything about it? My mother had said to me on one of those days I was still rigid about our stay in the palace. "I will grow up someday, and I will fight and take back my father's inheritance," I had said. This made my mother to smile, and we made light the situation at that moment. The royal family eats together in the huge dining table in the dining area, huge enough to contain more than 12 people at the same time. And whenever we have dinner together, certain family decisions are taken there, and everybody's opinion of the matter is always welcomed. Most times, the issues troubling the pack are discussed here too, especially when Lucas is back from war and is around to have dinner with the family. "So, Lucas, how did the meeting with the elders of Nightshade City go?" The Alpha had asked Lucas one evening while the family was having dinner. "The meeting went well. Chief Keeve finally agreed to go into alliance with our pack and is ready and willing to render help in any way he can to us on demand. And to further portray his sincerity, he has requested that a day be fixed for the two families to meet at a party, and his sons would pick a wife from the daughters of our family." Lucas had said, a proud smile of achieving an assignment dancing round the corner of his mouth as he munches on his food. "Wow, this is great! Even better than I had expected," the Alpha said, laughing heartily. The love and trust Alpha Magnus had for his junior brother Lucas was immeasurable. He always has this confidence whenever Lucas was to execute any assignment, and he did it to perfection. The Alpha always obliged to every of Lucas' request, no matter what it was, and will always support him in everything. Hence, Lucas would always go scot-free even when he committed any of his notorious activities. This family will be hosting a great party in a fortnight, and so all hands must be on deck to make it a success. Chief Keeve is a noble man, and to have him come for a ball in our house with his family is an honorable thing. So therefore, we must make sure they are all comfortable, including the members of his entourage when they arrive. The Alpha said, dishing out the information to all his wives, urging them to get their daughters who are of a marriageable age, ready, prepared, and acceptable for a noble family's acceptance. The party was to be celebrated in a fortnight. The first day was for the preparations and getting everything worthy of a noble party ready. The professional event planner was invited, and with the maids and servants available to help out, she prepared the hall for the ball, the exquisite settings, and everything was prepared in grand style. All the daughters of the royal family, including myself, were not left out. The professional event planner also made sure every one of us was looking our best, befitting of royalty. We were all looking so beautiful that no man was believed to ever reject any one of us. The personal maids assigned to each one of us selected the best ball gowns in the whole pack, each beautiful in their unique colors with matching handbags and shoes. Beautiful flowers were tucked in our hair to complement the beauty of the dress. "Put on your beautiful dress, Naomi, and stand before the mirror. I want to see the beautiful creature my daughter has grown into," my mother had said, as she walked into my room while my personal assigned maid was getting my dress, my accessories and shoes out for easy access tomorrow. "Mother, the party is for tomorrow. What is the point of me wearing the dress tonight when you will still see it tomorrow?" I had protested. "Come on, Naomi. Don't deny your mother the privilege of being the first to see the beauty you will radiate tomorrow. I want to go to bed tonight with the memory of your beauty and dream of the equally handsome man from Nightshade family that will be honored to pick you as his wife." My mother had added, "winning my heart." She then beckoned on my assigned maid to dress me up quickly, and she made me stand before the giant wall mirror in my room and admired me. "You look so charming, my daughter. There is no point denying the fact that you will be the first to be selected as a bride to the noble gentleman of Nightshade family tomorrow." My mother has a way of praising me that gladdens my heart, especially when it comes to my beauty. In my mother's eyes, I will be the one and only Luna of a noble alpha who will love me and only me, and will never marry someone else besides me. After my mother had gone back to her room, I decided to take a walk outside at the garden. The roses were looking so beautiful that I would always make them the last thing I see every night before I go to bed. Every night, I would be the only one in the garden, admiring the roses, feeling their tenderness with my palm following the outline of every curve of the beautiful flowers. On silent nights, I would communicate with the roses in my head and imagine them whispering back to me. That feeling would always gladden my heart and make me happy, but tonight it was different. I was not the only one in the garden that night. Interrupting my quiet time in the garden that night was Lucas, the least person I expected to see for the night. "I can see you like the roses. They are beautiful, aren't they?" Lucas had said as he walked in and approached me, interrupting my beautiful moment with nature that night. "Yes, they are beautiful," I said quietly. "I don't like Lucas at all." "They are just as beautiful as you are," he added, with his arm stretched forward and made to touch my face, but I took a step backwards. "What do you want?" I guess my straight-up question took him aback because Lucas took a quick glance at me with a little frown on his face. "I want you to take a walk with me tomorrow. There is a beautiful rose flower garden in a faraway land I would like to show you. I know you will love it there." Lucas made it sound like a command and not a request. What guts! "You seem to have forgotten what tomorrow is in this family. I will not be having any time for frivolities, and if I do have the time, I will definitely not be spending it with you." My voice now growing a little angry, reflecting my current state of mind. How dare Lucas ask me for a walk? More so on a day so special like tomorrow, a day that would decide the course every female member of the royal family would tread for the rest of their lives. How dare him? Of course I know what day tomorrow is to the royal family members, which is why I am offering you a walk alone to tell you a secret, something about you and your existence in this palace. Lucas drawled out the words while staring at me with a mean look on his face. "A secret? About me?" I asked in a hoarse voice and confused eyes that searched Lucas' face for an answer. "Naomi, get up. It is past 2 p.m. already. Have you forgotten what today is?" My mother walked into my room that afternoon and opened the curtains to the giant windows to let the morning sun hit me directly in my face. This was her usual ritual every morning since I always slept more than I should especially on special occasion days like today was in the palace. "I want to be in bed today, Mom. I don't feel like getting up now," I answered her, covering my head further with the duvet to prevent the sun from piercing into my eyes that early in the morning. "Don't be silly, young lady. Every other person is up already and dressed. The guests will be arriving any time soon, and the ball will begin," my mother insisted. "But I don't want to attend the party, Mom." "But you must attend. Your father has asked every daughter of the family to be present, and no one dares disobey the alpha in this pack," my mother said as she opened my wardrobe and begins to bringing out my dress. She also checks the other accessories that have been laid out on my vanity table. "My father?" I asked, scheming to find a clue from my mother about the secret Lucas mentioned to me last night at the garden. The question, and the tone I used in saying it, made my mother to stop what she was doing and turn to look at me. I maintained my gaze on her, which was still a part of my scheming. Then she responded, rather in a hurry. "Your stepfather?" she said, and continued to placing the dress and a pair of shoes on the bed beside me and urged me to get up and get ready. "Mom, can I ask you something?" "No, Naomi, no more distractions and delaying of your getting ready. It is almost time for the guests to arrive. Now get up and go have your bath. And where is this maid?" my mother commanded, and calling on the maid that was assigned to me to come help me get ready, she left the door. I could still hear her voice at the hallway calling on the maid to hurry up and come assist me. The maid took her time on my hair and makeup before dusting my collarbones with some shimmer. The party had already commenced before I could finish dressing up, and I stepped out from my room. I didn't take time to take a look at myself at the mirror that evening to see how I looked. My mother had already confirmed that I looked beautiful in my dress yesterday, and I was not in the mood to do that anyway. Who cares whether I looked beautiful or not for the party, when there is a secret hanging over my existence in the royal family? Haunted by that feeling, I walked slowly through the estate yard to the ballroom. There were fleets of beautiful and expensive-looking cars littered all over the estate parking lot. Cars ranging from Rolls-Royce to limousine to Benz, and to the latest Bugatti and Ferrari in town, all beautifully arranged around the yard. In the middle of them all was a very beautiful one, romantically designed with red ribbons and scented flowers, with a placard that read, "Be my wife" on it. Wow, it was so beautiful to behold. When I arrived the hall, all guests were already seated and chatting happily with each other while eating and drinking. The alpha was seated too, in the midst of the noble chiefs and leaders with their attendants. And beside the alpha on both sides were his two favorite wives, the alpha's first wife, Luna Rachel, and his last but not the least favorite wife, Luna Isabella, my mother. As soon as I walked in through the door, my mother's eyes caught with mine, and she smiled heartily at me, like she had been staring at the door counting times and expecting me to walk in. I smiled back, more like a grin though, and not wanting to disturb or interrupt the happy party people, I decided to stand at a corner by the door. While there, I took a full view of the noble guests at the party, which was full of more gentlemen than ladies in attendance. All the men in attendance were expensively dressed and gorgeous with an aura that spoke of wealth. The only female amongst the guests was a young girl that looked like she was about 15 years old, the last child of the Nightshade City chief. Even she was not left out in looking good and expensive. She was rumored to be her father's favorite child, and he has always gone to events and parties in her company ever since she was 6 years old. Tired of admiring the wealthy people, I decided to step out a bit for a fresher air. And with the glass of non-alcoholic wine that one of the maidservant gave me on arrival, I turned to leave the hall and bumped into someone mistakenly spilling my drink. I turned around, only to come face to face with a young man. "Sorry," I said as I quickly fished out my handkerchief to clean the little wine that spilled on his shoe due to our coalition. "No, don't worry, I can take care of that," the gentleman said, and with a serviette, he dabbed the wine off his shoe gently, and looking up at me, he smiled and said, "My name is Colin, and you are?" "I am Naomi," I said with a smile. "Naomi? You must be the orphaned girl the Alpha King took in out of pity, because I know of Princess Kiara and Anita and Cleo, the 3 daughters of Alpha Magnus. Am I right?" The man who had introduced himself as Colin asked, smiling innocently. "What?" My eyes widened in shock. An orphan? I opened my mouth to say something, but it was as if a big lump was trapped in my throat. I immediately forgot how to talk. Standing at the far end of the ballroom hallway was Lucas, staring at us and quietly observing Colin and I with a big grin on his face. As soon as my eyes met his, I felt a great rolling sensation in my stomach, as if I would throw up if I did not leave there immediately. I ran away, towards the direction of my room, forcing back the tears that were fighting to pour out from my eyes. Colin stood there perplexed and wondered what he had said wrong. "Open this door right away, will you?" A bang on my bedroom door and the sound of the commanding voice from outside my room jerked me out from my sleep. I opened my eyes, initially confused about where I was at that moment. There was a loud banging going on in my head that seems like it was wiping my memory away. As I sat confused in bed, trying to recall what happened and where I was, the bang came again. "Naomi, open this door this minute, or you will have me to contend with this night." My mother's voice at the other end of the door brought me back to real life, and I sprang up from my bed and out of my confused state and ran to the door and opened it. "How dare you, this ungrateful girl! How dare you leave the party when the party was not over yet?" my mother yelled at me. My mother's way of expressing anger and disappointment at someone or something was by yelling, and my late father had taught me to always be quiet and calm whenever my mother was in that mood. She would come around when nobody was counter-yelling or exchanging words with her, my father had said. And so I kept quiet, just watching my mother shout, and just prayed silently in my heart that she would just stop yelling for the sake of the banging that was still wreaking havoc in my head. "Now can you tell me why you disobeyed me, and the Alpha's order by leaving the party halfway? Don't you want to get married?" my mother asked, now a little bit calmer, but I could still hear the residual anger in her voice. "The party was not organized for me to get married, Mom. It was solely for the daughters of the Alpha King. The party was for every female member of this family. Which I am not one of them, Mom. I am just an orphan to them all," I said firmly, almost yelling at this point. "How dare you call yourself an orphan when I, your mother, is standing right before you? Have you lost your mind, young lady?" my mother said, with her eyes narrowed as she searched my face to find the possible reason why I could use such word on myself. "One of the guests from the Nightshade City called me that. In his words, the Alpha King took me into his palace out of pity." I said that last phrase with a loud voice, more like a yell, as tears streamed down my cheeks. I stormed off to my bed and flung myself into the bed and sobbed. My mother was shocked, and for some seconds she stood frozen at that spot, and most likely wondered why someone could call me that. Slowly she walked up to me on the bed crying, and with an arm held me by the shoulder and strokes my back softly. "It's okay, my baby. Stop crying. You are not an orphan, and you know it." "But that is what they think of me. I was not supposed to be here in the first place." I sobbed. "Nobody dares think such about you here, Naomi. The Alpha loves you just the way he loves his daughters." "Even Lucas thinks so, Mom. The other day he told me there is a secret hanging over my existence in this palace. Don't you think that could be what he meant by that?" I asked, now fully turned and looking at my mother for a full explanation. Maybe there was an agreement between my mother and the Alpha before he could allow my mother bring me into the palace as a member of the family instead of a maidservant like every other captive's becomes. Maybe my mother agreed with the Alpha 9 years ago that I be brought in the guise of an orphan in need of a shelter, just so she can have me live close to her and have the opportunity of raising me herself. Maybe there was indeed a secret hanging over my existence in the royal palace of Alpha King Magnus. I was woken up by the noise I heard coming from the outside of my room window. I sat up in bed and felt a wave of dizziness sweep round my head, and I decided to sit still for a while to let my head cool off before leaving the bed. I had slept last night with a heavy heart and on an empty stomach. I can't tell for how long I had slept, but I could remember my mother left my room late last night, after very long hours of conversations and sobbing. My mother had tried to convince me not to take Lucas serious and never to take any of his words to heart. Alpha Magnus had taken you in 9 years ago as his adopted daughter, and never as an orphan. She had said, comforting me and doing all she could to make me cheer up and accept our sudden stay as the members of the royal family as our fate. "Hey, wait for me. Give me the camera. I want to take a picture of myself too." A voice from outside the window brought me back from my thoughts of last night. I stood up from the bed, walked over to the window and looked out. Right under my bedroom window, downstairs at the ground floor, was Cleo and her other siblings, Kiara and Anita, playing round the beautifully designed car from yesterday. "Cleo, I envy you. I wish I was the one who got this car gift," Anita said. She was always the outspoken one. "I do not envy her, because I know my own suitor is going to give me a much more beautiful and romantic gift than a car." That was Kiara, the beauty queen. She always carried herself like the most beautiful and the most desirable girl in the whole world. Well, actions speak louder than words. My own wedding gift is here already, and nobody can deny the fact that it is a beautiful gift. And as such, I am not going to allow any of you girls take pictures with my car again," Cleo said. And with that, she runs away playfully while her sisters run after her joyfully, shouting happily. I smiled too, as though I was there with them on the grounds. I have always enjoyed the company of Cleo, Kiara, and Anita ever since we were growing up together as sisters. We did everything in common and shared everything together. There had never been a day any one of them had discriminated me nor treated me like I was not their sister. "What is your choice of a future husband?" Cleo had asked me one day while we were playing together. "Come on, Cleo, we are just 15 and shouldn't be dreaming of men at this age," I had replied as I shied away from that question. 15, 16, 17, and 18, she had counted with her fingers and said, "In just 3 years we will be having our coming-of-age ceremony and become eligible for marriage. Don't you think we should be prepared and dream of our future husband so that the moon goddess can see how heart desires and grant them?" Nobody assists the moon goddess in mating two people who are destined to be together in marriage. She is a supreme being and does not need the help of humans to operate, so let's change the topic, I had insisted. "Okay then, what other things should we talk about? I am just in the mood to talk today." As I recall all those memories, I couldn't help but smile. Maybe my mother was right. Maybe I was destined to be here after all. Maybe I should just ignore and avoid Lucas for the rest of my life in this palace. Or maybe I should just pray that the next battle he would embark on should take his life. A knock came at the door, interrupting my wishes for Lucas. "Who is there?" "Excuse me, my princess. Lunch is served." A maidservant's voice came from the other side of the door. "I will be there in a jiffy," I replied, and quickly pulled out a simple pair of jeans and a medium-sized t-shirt from my wardrobe. Then I got dressed and left the room, closing the door gently behind me. The Alpha King was absent during lunch today, and that was unusual. Lucas was not there too, which I was happy about, but whenever the Alpha missed one of the family's mealtime together like this, then it must be about something very crucial. The Alpha does not like eating alone without his family. After lunch that day, I went straight back to my room. I have decided to heed my mother's advice and avoid Lucas in every way possible I can figure out. And if locking myself all day in my room could make avoiding Lucas possible for me, I was ready to do that. While in my room and looking out of the window, I saw the soldiers of the pack coming into the compound in their numbers. It looks like there is going to be a meeting today in the pack. Was that the reason why the Alpha was absent at lunch today? I wondered, and watched on as the soldiers assembled in the compound, and among the elders and the chiefs from the various families who had assembled as well was the Alpha King. The resistance and disobedience of the rogues who constantly parades themselves around our pack has become like a thorn in our flesh, and we will no longer tolerate them anymore. The Alpha King addressed the people. Prior to this day, we have set a boundary and marked them to show how far they should stay away from our territory. But they keep provoking us, and overstepping their bounds into our territory. And not only that, they keep perpetrating havoc and killing and destroying lives and properties of our people. Therefore, we will no longer have them intimidate us. We are going to fight and kill at sight any rogue we come across with today," he concluded. There was growling and roaring from the people as the warriors accepted the challenge to go and kill. "But, Your Highness, don't you think that launching an attack at the rogues to kill them would degenerate into a conflict and a bigger war than we can handle? Remember the last agreement of the Parliament to exile the rogues instead of killing them. Don't you think we should rather send them away into the forsaken forest, far away from our pack territory, than going into war with them? Think about the people of the Wolf Pack, the women, the children, and the weak families we have among us who cannot fight to defend themselves," a member of the Elders' Council suggested. "No, we are not afraid to go to war, and there is no war that is bigger than us. We will fight and we will win." Lucas roared, disagreeing with the elder's opinion, and all his soldiers growled in support of him. They always support him. "We have gained more alliance than the rogues. We have the support of the President of the Parliament on our side. The rogues has done more harm to us than good to be ignored. Therefore, we will fight. Let every elder take this message home to their families, keep the women and children safe, and let the young men in every family mount guard at their home in case of any counterattack from within. And the warriors who are selected to go with Lucas will meet the rogues at the territorial boundary between us," the Alpha concluded. And growling and roaring in happiness and in unison, the warriors led by Lucas stormed out, chanting a war song as they all transformed into werewolves one by one. I watched them from the window in my room as they marched on out, my eyes searching and spotting Lucas's wolf in the forefront of the others. I stared on at him as they growled on as if that was going to be the last time I was going to see him alive, and wished silently in my heart that he would never return alive this time. A voice within me hushed me quiet immediately, and I shuddered. How can I wish for someone to die at war? That was not good, remembering how hurtful it was for me whenever I think of my father and the war that took his life. The rest of that day was boring to me. The whole palace was unusually quiet. Everybody seemed to be troubled by the conflict in the pack. All the Lunas were with their husband, the Alpha King, to encourage him as he brooded over the ongoing war. I remained in my room, locked up and doing nothing. I tried to sleep, but could not, and so I just counted sheep till my eyes became dim, and I didn't know when I slept off. Hurry up! They are back. We have victory at last. Are there going to be more maidservants joining us today? No, the fight was against the outcasts, the rogues. They can't bring rogues into the palace. Just hurry up, you two, and stop gossiping. We have an emergency party to prepare for. The voices outside my room woke me up, and I looked out the window. It was night already. Party? I heard someone mention a party? I thought to myself. I got up and decided to go outside and find out what it was by myself. But before I could get ready to go outside, the door of my room opened and my mother walked in. The look on her face was not bright, and I wondered what could be the problem. Mom, is everything all right? You're here. Cleo expressed her joy when she saw me enter the dining area. Everyone was waiting patiently. This was the same dining room where I had dinner every single day of my life as long as I could remember. It looked different today, just like everything looked to me since the day Lucas mentioned that I was just a common orphan. I looked at the people surrounding the table, the ones I had always called my family. The people that were always with me all this while now suddenly looked like strangers to me. I knew deep down that Lucas had messed with my mind. He was there too with a wicked smirk on his face. He was definitely up to something, and I knew he was going to come after me. Good morning, my princess. How are you doing? My mother greeted me as I sat at the chair beside which was the only one vacant. Good morning, my Alpha. I greeted the Alpha King Magnus, who smiled back to acknowledge my greetings. How are you doing, Naomi? I'm doing well, my king, I responded. Your mother said something about you not feeling too fine. I hope you're okay now? Yes, my lord. Was that the reason you ran out of the wedding reception like that? Lucas asked, his lips curled upwards into a smile, revealing gleaming teeth. Or was there something else? There was just something about this man that I didn't like and couldn't figure out. There was this aura of cunning he had in him. No, I answered rigidly. I wasn't just feeling too fine. Oh, you missed so much from yesterday's party. I wish you were there, Cleo said excitedly. She got a car, Kiara announced even before Cleo could say a word. Hey, that was my announcement to make and not yours. Cleo was upset and scolded Kiara. Well, it's done already. Live with it. Kiara replied, ready to devour the food in her presence. You are so annoying, Cleo told Kiara and then turned to me. It was a beautiful car anyway. He got it for me. He? Who? I asked. Her suitor, Anita replied. I was the one she asked, not you. Cleo turned back at her sister. Well, she was just asking us all. Anita jeered at her. Both of you are so annoying. Naomi is the only mature one, Cleo said, which made me blush. I was being too quiet this morning and needed to spark up the conversation so no one would figure out what was going on in my head. You mean that fancy car that I had seen at the ball party with the Be My Wife banner on it? I asked, knowing fully well that must be the car she was speaking about. Yes. You saw it? Oh, he proposed? Yes. Cleo screamed, barely holding back her excitement. The girls and I giggled with happiness instead. I was truly happy for my sister, that this was a big deal for her, as I have always known Cleo as a marriage freak. She always talked about getting married and having children. Seeing her childhood dream come through meant so much to me. Well, I have good news. Myself. I have a suitor too. We met yesterday and had a connection. So? Kiara started and we all laughed, even Afa King Magnus. What's so funny? I just made a beautiful announcement. This isn't the first time you're saying this. Remember last time you said someone like that, yet we never met him and now you're meeting someone else, Anita replied. Well, it's just complicated, Kiara replied, and we all burst out laughing again. I really don't know what is funny, she replied. Let's eat. I'm so hungry. We were all laughing and spending time together. We didn't realize that we hadn't started having breakfast. The maids were at the side waiting for a go-ahead serve us. I'm so proud of you, Kiara. Let's see how long this newfound love would turn out. Luna Raphael nodded. She was dressed simply today compared to yesterday when she was gorgeous. You girls should let us eat, she finally said. With a nod of head from Alpha King Magnus, the maids moved closer to the dining and started dishing out the food. They all did it slowly but steadily. I'm better than Anita. She doesn't even have a man in her life, not even a rat. Don't call my name, Anita countered, knowing fully well it was true. Let's eat, Alpha King Magnus said. For some moments, we ate in quietness before Lucas announced that he had something to say in the presence of the whole family. Can it wait? Maybe after breakfast. No, I want to make the announcement in the presence of everyone. I glanced at him and saw him watching me eat my eggs. I almost choked on my food as I immediately started coughing. What's wrong? Luna Raphael asked. My mother's hands were already at my back, caressing me like it was going to stop me from coughing. She offered me water. It must be because of the news I am about to share with you all. Lucas made this comment and I could only stare at him. I didn't know what this man was planning, but whatever it was dangerous. Everyone waited. I know you guys might think that whatever I'm going to say is stupid, but I need you all to think about it properly before giving an answer. What is wrong? Alpha King Magnus asked. He seemed to be in suspense exactly the way we were, waiting. Since Naomi here doesn't have a suitor yet, I propose to marry her. It was the greatest shock of my life. I couldn't even block my eyes when I heard this. Lucas was asking to marry me? Old and unattractive Lucas? What? Everyone was dumbfounded and shocked that for a second, no one ate. It must have had the greatest effect on me because immediately I shut my eyes. I had a vivid image of me and Lucas in a beautiful venue. I was in a wedding gown and him, dressed in an exquisite suit. I immediately got back to my reality and screamed in the worst possible way. Never! It was disgusting to think that a man I had always looked up to could think of something as stupid as me getting married to him. Lucas? My mother called out his name in shock. Really? Listen to me first. I have a good reason for this. It might not make sense now, but it will eventually, he explained, trying to calm everyone down, especially Alpha King Magnus. Let's talk in your chambers. I'll explain everything to you. I was the one who he should be explaining to, not the alpha, but me, the one he wants to get married to. I watched as everyone slowly got back to eating like Lucas had said the most normal thing. Excuse me? Why would you say something like that? I looked visibly angry as I asked. He was about to say something when the Alpha King stopped him from speaking by a raise of hand. Naomi, let's eat. This issue will be discussed and addressed soon. He continued with his food. I signed. All I wanted was just to eat with my family, but it seemed I couldn't even eat in peace anymore in this palace. Aloha Lucas was getting on my nerves and saying things he shouldn't say. I'm no longer hungry. I stood up, glanced at Lucas, and said, I lost my appetite. I walked out. Even my mother couldn't stop me as she was still in shock too. I went straight to my room and locked it so no one could come and talk to me. My room was the only place in this palace that gave me comfort and solace. I wanted to cry, but the tears didn't seem to want to come out, and then I wondered why I was crying. Lucas had said his intention of getting married to me, but it was up to me to agree or not, and definitely I wasn't going to get married to that horrible being. The other time he had told me that there was a secret family to me in this palace, and now he wants to get married to me? How I hate that man and his guts. Lucas had ulterior motives, and I really wanted to talk to my mother about him. I wanted to find out every single thing about Lucas before he would finally get me messed up. I lay in bed playing with my thoughts for more than 3 hours before I heard a knock at the door. Open up, Naomi. The voice called from outside my huge door. It's me, Cleo. I didn't want to talk to anyone, but I couldn't shut Cleo out, so I went to let her in, and then I saw 2 smiling faces behind her. You guys fooled me. I laughed as I opened the door wider to let the girls in. I knew if I said that we all were at your door, you won't let us in, especially because Anita is here and she never keeps her mouth shut, Cleo explained. What? Why did I do wrong this time? You simply talk a lot, Kiara seconded. No, I don't. Yes, you do. I laughed and then continued. Remember years ago, when we were planning for Luna Rachel's birthday, we made sure to keep everything a secret, but you just had to ruin the whole plans by spilling the beans. I remember, Cleo concurred. She literally went and told Mum everything we had planned. We all burst out laughing, including Anita. I was only a child, I'm a grown woman now, she said, and we all burst out laughing again. Everyone knew that Anita was talkative even as she got older, and so no one shared secrets with her. When we had all quieted down, the girls surrounded me, each devouring me with her eyes. What? I said, trying to run away from their penetrating eyes. Don't you girls look at me that way. Were you crying? Cleo asked. No, I said. I wanted to, but it wasn't worth my tears. We let you leave because we wanted you to clear your mind, but we didn't think you'd still be up in your room by now, Cleo said, and the girls nodded. Are you offended by what Uncle Lucas said? Anita asked, and without waiting for a response, continued. You shouldn't be. But you know his opinions matter in this palace. I'm just afraid of what the Alpha King would say concerning this situation. I told them all, and I could see the concern on their faces. Don't worry about it. Father won't make a careless mistake. Kiara added, I knew I was truly loved. These girls accepted me when I was 8 and knew in that palace and Forbin Day, they had never made me feel out of place in any way. I'm so happy I have sisters like you. You guys are the best, I told them. Can we just go plan for your date, Cleo? You have a date? I asked in surprise. Your suitor is taking you out? Oh, so romantic. That's exactly what I said. So can we go help her plan this date? Kiara said as she jumped up from the bed, urging us all. I'm too tired to go, Cleo said, and we all screamed in protest. Don't say that. I got up firmly, suddenly feeling energetic and happy. We have a wedding to plan, and this date is the starting point, so let's do this, I ordered. We helped Cleo out of the bed, to her room, and helped her dress up for her date. I loved spending time with the girls. They truly gave me a sense of belonging, which I needed so badly. For a moment, I forgot about Lucas and the issue of marriage. We finally got Cleo ready for her date. Oh, and the girls ate apples afterwards, and then I headed back to my room. I wanted to talk to my mother and hear what she had to say to me. Do you have a minute? Let's talk. It was Lucas. He had come from my back and had startled me. "Why would I want to speak with a devil like you?" He laughed. "You know you need to have this discussion with me or it'll be over for you. You tend to forget your place in this palace and I'll make sure you remember it. 8 p.m., meet me at the garden for your own good." He left quickly after delivering his message. I always knew from the first day I met Lucas in this palace that he was up to no good, and now I could see it displaying. Now, I knew I really needed to see my mother. She had a lot of explaining to do, and I was ready to listen to everyone. I was beginning to get tired of the suspense and the guilt I felt each time I saw Lucas. I found myself waiting patiently at the garden for Lucas. I hoped that whatever it is he wanted to say was very important, because I wouldn't like to be seen with a man like him. I didn't like to be seen with men like Lucas, especially in this situation. This made me hate him even more. He came after minutes of waiting. "Why would you keep me waiting for this long?" I asked him when I saw him. "I'm not as jobless as you are," I retorted. He chuckled, then looked up to me. "You don't seem to like me very much, do you? Does it matter?" "Well, it doesn't," he answered and found a seat for himself. "I think you should make yourself comfortable because this would be a long conversation that you wouldn't like to miss." "Make it short. Your presence irritates me," I argued. That was the only thing I could do. Lucas had power and usually got whatever he wanted, including women except me. The only reason he also hasn't slept with the other princesses was because he was related to them. He was the black sheep of the family but was also important to the kingdom. That was why Alpha King Magnus always granted his desires and loved him so much. "What do you want?" I asked. I was trying so hard not to bring up the conversation he brought in the morning. "You." "Well, I'm sorry. You can't have me." "Well, you should have realized that whatever I want, I get. Not in this case," I insisted. I was still standing, and it was already getting tired, but I would rather stand than let Lucas see me as a weakling. "You have no choice," he told me. I thought about what he said. Truly, I had no choice. If the king has heard him out, that means he was in support of the marriage already. Why would I marry someone I didn't love? Someone like Lucas? I wondered, as just the thought of it was heartbreaking. "Why are you doing this? Is it obvious? I like you and I want to marry you." Lucas lied. Lucas was the type of man who would never invest in a place where he saw no value. I knew this marriage was part of a laid-down plot. What I needed to know was what his endgame was. I was in danger, and I couldn't help myself. "I can't marry you, Lucas," I said in a pleading voice, hoping he would hear me out. "Why? We can grow our love together," he said, showing his well-formed teeth. This man didn't know how much he irritated me and how much I didn't want to be speaking to him at the moment. I didn't want to have anything to do with Lucas, ever. "Can we sit and discuss this?" I asked, calmly sitting next to him. I needed to swallow my pride and talk sense to this man. I was disguised as I sat close to him, but I didn't show it. "Lucas, I know you never sow in a place where you would never reap. So tell me what you aim to gain from getting married to me, and I'll help you achieve it without even having you go through the stress of getting married to me." I nodded in accordance with what I was saying. "You are right," he smiled. "I never sow in a place where I would never reap. That is why I have to go through this process. I have to get married to you the proper way to get whatever it is that I want." "What is it that you want?" I asked, hoping he would open up to me. "You? Haven't I made it clear? I want you and I'll get you, not just in my bed, but as my wife." He stared at me with firm eyes, which made me weak. "You just want to have sex with me?" I asked bluntly. "If that was all I wanted, I could easily get you to my bed. Why would I go through the stress of getting married to you?" That was a good question. Lucas was powerful and he could get any woman, myself inclusive, to go to bed with him. So why would he want to get married to me for sex when he could get it easily without the marriage stress? This confirmed that Lucas was up to something and he needed me to reach his wicked and evil goal. "I'm willing to help you get whatever you want. Let's just not get married." "Do you hate me to this extent?" he asked, looking right at my face. "I can even see the content on your face. You hate me, right? That's why you're pleading so I wouldn't get married to you." "I don't." I lied to him. I smiled to cover up any content or disgust he could see on my face. I just want us to work this out. This would be a rather long process for you to go through, all in the name of marriage. When did you start caring about me? I'm shocked to hear this. He smiled and laughed. I'm not a child anymore. You shouldn't try to fool me. Can you just be reasonable? I snapped at him. That's the Naomi I know. He nodded. I didn't understand what was wrong with this man, but I knew that my tricks couldn't work on him. I needed to find other means of getting him to stop this plot of his. You are just a manipulative fool. Why can't you just mind your business and leave me out of it? Just so you know, I would never get married to you. Never. No, we'll see about that then. Lucas said and stood up, walking away. It's for your own good, though. I knew those weren't empty threats. Lucas was not a man to make empty threats. I sat there watching him walk away, not knowing if I should plead with him or insult him the more. Let's talk about this, I said to him, but he didn't stop walking. Please, I whispered to myself. I couldn't let him hear me pleading. I knew I was in deep shit at that moment. I need to talk to my mother. She must advise me on what to do, or I'll be stuck here. From the look of things, Lucas had a strong backup plan. I suspected that he must have spoken to Alpha King Magnus about this issue, so he wasn't bothered anymore about my response. What did he tell the king? I kept on trying to think this through. I was in for a battle against Lucas and anyone that supported him. Mum? I called from outside when I saw that her room was locked from within. Naomi? She called out to me. Yes, Mum. It's me, I answered, and immediately she unlocked her door. I was just making sure it was you. She opened the door wide enough to let me in, then locked it again. Are you feeling all right? Why was your door locked? I asked. I'm okay. I just wanted to have a little rest. It's fine, if you say so. I just wanted to speak to you. I told her, hoping she would listen to me. About Lucas's proposal to marry you? Mum? I exclaimed. I'm shocked that you're saying this. I want to sit on the only couch she has in her very large room. This was the very couch she had with my father before his death. They shared a lot of memories on this same couch, as she had told me. I didn't say you were going to marry him. I only asked you a question. Oh, Mum, I hate Lucas so much. Luna Isabella smiled, her beautiful set of teeth glinting in the light. She was the most beautiful woman in the pack and had lived up to everyone's expectations. When her husband died, she lost everything that belonged to him to his rival, Alpha King Magnus, who she later married. From what I remembered, she loved her husband, but when he died, she was left with no option than to take the only offer that would give her and her child a better life. Alpha King Magnus made an offer to her who she couldn't refuse. Till date, she still doesn't regret getting married to Alpha King Magnus, who brought us out of poverty, according to her. She always said she did everything she did for my sake, but I doubt it. I refused to think about it, as she always told me that it was all in the past. It's all in the past, dear, she would say it repeatedly. Mum, I can't marry that man. He was only joking. Luna Isabella replied and went to sit on her bed. Don't overthink it. Joking? How is that a joke? I wondered aloud. You guys overlook and underestimate Lucas, and that is why he behaves like that. What do you mean? He is up to something. I can feel it in my bones. He is a wicked, evil man. I said and laughed. You're exaggerating, she replied. I'm not. I know what I'm saying. He is trying to get something from me, but I don't know what that is. I responded, combing my hair with my fingers. Something valuable? Yes, Mum. You know Lucas. He doesn't just joke around. You can never see him in a place where he would never benefit from. I know he is up to something. Something bad. You are always suspicious of even the most angelic person, so I'm not surprised. My mother replied, letting me think whatever I wanted. Can you imagine? He said he loves me. I burst out laughing. It could be true. Mum, I want to ask you, did Dad have any other relatives like brother or sister? Don't I have any uncle or auntie, cousin, nephew? I asked and stopped suddenly. What of a brother, a little brother? I have always wanted a brother. A brother? That I don't know of? You must be crazy. Luna Isabella laughed. Tell me. I want to know, or am I all alone in this wicked world? I replied, frowning. Of course you're not alone. I'm here with you. We're together in this. I just want you to know this. Sure came closer and helped my hands, Then I knew she was trying to make me forget the discussion. Stop digging into the past. You have a good life here. You have me, a supportive stepfather, the best stepsisters too. You couldn't ask for more. Live in the present and not the past. It all sounded like a mundane dream to my ears. I didn't know if I understood my mother or the reason why she was bent on making me forget the past, my root and my clan. Why was she pushing me to forget it all? Something was wrong, and I knew I had to figure it out, or I would live in darkness for a long time. I didn't know if I can trust my mother anymore. "Mum, are you hiding anything from me?" I asked quietly. "Talk to me, please. I can help you." "If you want to help me, Naomi, all you need to do is to listen to all I'm saying to you. Don't go back to your past. It'll hurt you and make you miserable. Don't." She stood up immediately. "I need to go to sleep now." She was asking me out of the room in a nice way. She looked upset. My question might have triggered someone's feelings in her. Was Lucas also responsible for this? She knew something about my father and his clan in the past, but she preferred not to say a word. What was she hiding? How was I going to find out? I walked out the room, wishing her a good night, rest, knowing she would sleep all through the night. I was tired, so I headed for my own room, hoping to get the usual comfort, but it wasn't there this night. I needed to take my bath because the maids would be coming in any moment from now to call me for dinner, and I hoped Lucas had gone on one of his unending trips again. I didn't want to see his face or relieve the memories that happened in the morning. I couldn't stop digging into my past. I just couldn't. My past was the key to finding out about my future. The next morning, I was feeling too tired to stand up to do anything. I was weak and hungry all at the same time. When I finally woke up and checked my time, I found out that it was too late for breakfast. We had visitors to welcome, so I had to dress well. It was Cleo's suitor. He was coming to make things official between them both. The sun was bright enough, and everything was ready for them to arrive. I had just taken my bath when I heard a knock at my room door. I wasn't dressed, so I asked who it was from the inside. "It's me, Vanessa. The Alpha wants to see you. He says you should come immediately." The maid answered. "All right, tell him I'll be there shortly," I said out loud, and then wondered why the Alpha would want to see me. Was it because I didn't make it to breakfast today? I thought. I was on good terms with Alpha King Magnus, but I never had a close contact with him. He was just a stepfather to me. He was my stepsister's father. I gave him the respect as the man who accepted me and my mother, but then that was it. He was nothing more than the king to me. He would never replace my father. No man would. I put on my dress quickly. I was supposed to put on some light makeup, but I wouldn't dare keep the king waiting. That would be so rude of me to do, so I just used my perfumes and went in search of the king. I went out of the room into the corridor. The next room was Alicia's own. I would have gone to talk to her, but I know the king would be waiting for me, and besides, she was never an early riser, so I believed she would be asleep at the moment. I passed Chiara's and Cleo's room, which was noisy due to the preparations made for her. I then took my right into the beautiful palace that was built for kings and queens. There I met Alpha King Magnus. He sat regally upon his throne, his fur gleaming. His presence filled the room with an aura of confidence and dominion. He was the most powerful alpha to rule the Ice-crest Wolf Pack. He was loved by many, and his love for his people caused him to make sacrifices. "Good afternoon, my lord," I greeted, lowering my gaze slightly as a sign of respect. Then I looked at him. "Sit down, Naomi, and wait," he ordered. As I watched him talk to his guards about protecting the palace and having a strong security system, I could see he looked uncomfortable and would gaze at me once in a while. Whatever he wanted to say to me was a significant issue, so I waited. "I'm sorry for keeping you waiting." He finally turned to me after some minutes of me waiting. "That's not a problem at all," I said. "I know you'll be wondering why I had to invite you to my palace, right?" I smiled and nodded. "Well, first of all, I wanted to know why you missed breakfast this morning," he asked, his gaze focused sharply and unwavering at me. "I'm sorry, my lord, I overslept," I explained to him, feeling ashamed of myself. "I'm sorry. That doesn't mean I'm not coming for Cleo's event. Of course I'll show up. I can never miss it for the world," I responded. I didn't know where he was heading with this discussion, but I needed to assure him that I was not doing anything wrong in case he called to scold me. Well, I was going to talk about Cleo's wedding preparations with you. He paused, noticing that I wasn't getting what he was saying. I wanted to ask you about your love life, he stammered. My love life, I asked. I was sweating profusely, my hands fidgeting and tapping my toes impatiently. Currently, I don't have one. I laughed. When do you consider having one? I'm only asking because you're a lady, and it's important you think about things like this. I will. Thank you for reminding me, I said. I already wanted to leave. Lucas, my brother proposed getting married to you. My complexion became pale at once, and my body felt weak altogether. What plot was Lucas playing? I was scared he would do something like this, but I never took it seriously. What do you think of him? Alpha King Magnus wasn't done. He is actually a good guy and would make a good husband. I looked up to him in disappointment. What was he doing? I wondered. Was he putting in a good word for his wicked brother? Lucas is way other than me. We can possibly get married. We have been family for so long, we can't jeopardize that. Now just because of marriage, I said. Why not? You know that he isn't related to you in any way, so this marriage could actually work. The Alpha King countered. Are you asking me if I want to marry him, or you're putting in a word for him? I'm doing both. Marrying him would be a good thing for the community and for you too. He nodded in approval, not batting an eyelid. How is that possible? How is marriage going to benefit me? I wondered out loud. You'll get to know when the time comes. I advise you to get married to him. I'm sorry, Alpha. I can't get married to him. I don't have even the smallest attraction for him. I tried to explain my point, but he wasn't having it. That attraction can grow and mature if you nurture it, so don't worry about it. We can fix the date of the marriage immediately. I'm sorry, I won't get married to Lucas. Nothing would make me do that, I said, standing up. Are you about to walk out on me, Naomi? He barked at me. It actually brought me back to my senses. I couldn't believe I was about to walk out of the Alpha because I was angry. You have the choice to marry him, be his personal maid, or leave the palace, or leave. I was shocked by what I heard. Lucas was really out for me, and I felt it when Alpha King Magnus gave me options and gave me 2 days. You have just 2 days to give me an adequate answer, or you'll have yourself to blame. Those were the exact words he said to me before making me leave his presence. I noticed the sudden change of attitude of the Alpha when we talked about Lucas. I wondered what Lucas must have told him that made him suddenly turn against me. Alpha King Magnus was a kind-hearted man who loved his brother so much and would do anything for him. He was the kind-hearted one, while Lucas was the evil being and the manipulator. When I got back from the palace, I didn't feel like talking to anyone or even doing anything. I just felt so sad and confused. I didn't want to bother my mother anymore, even though I knew she had to know about the new development. I wanted to talk to Lucas, but I knew he would never like to speak quietly with me. After all, I made him an offer, but he refused it. The fact that he went to talk to the Alpha about it means that he knew I would never agree. He just wanted to make sure he did everything to make me submit to his desires. That would never happen. I had 3 choices: marry Lucas, be his personal maid, or be banished from the clan. None of this choice was in any way best for me, but I knew I would never succumb to the first one. I was never going to marry Lucas and would never marry him. How can I be his personal maid? That would be so degrading for me. How could a princess turn to a maid in the same palace? It was insane thinking about it. If I become his mind, then Lucas would literally own me. He would order me around and make me do things I didn't want to do. He would use the opportunity to have sex with me and make me his slave. None of the options looked pleasant, but I would rather get banished than marry Lucas, or worse of all, be his maid. I needed help, and the only one who could help me was my mother. I hoped she would talk to her husband so he would be considerate and not banish me. I rushed into her room even without knocking. "I need your help, Mother," I said when I barged in, but she wasn't in her room. I looked all round for her, but she wasn't here, so I waited. A few minutes later, she opened the door, walking in. She was wearing a sad face which weighed her down. She didn't notice that I was present in her room as she walked straight to the bathroom to wash her face. After she was done, I greeted her quietly because I didn't want to scare her. "Are you okay, Mum?" "Did you go see your stepfather today?" "Yes, I did. Mum, I have bad news, actually." "I know about it. It's the reason why I'm not happy," she responded, cleaning the water on her face. "You talked to the Alpha about Lucas?" I asked eagerly. "Yes, about your marriage to Lucas," she said, and I stopped on my tracks. "My marriage?" "Yes, plans have already been made for your wedding with Lucas." "Without my consent or my consent doesn't matter," I asked my mother. "I was sent to come see the Alpha. When I arrived, he told me why he wanted you to get married to Lucas. I won't lie, he had such big plans. Plans for? You and Lucas. But I'm not interested in getting married to that man. Why isn't anyone listening to me? Why? Why?" "Naomi, please listen to the king. He told me about the options he gave you. You can't just give up now. We have come this far, and he has been helping us all this while. This is the way of paying him back for all that he has done for us. Don't try to be stubborn." "Mum, you're advising me to get married to an evil man?" My heart was gradually breaking. "Do you prefer to get banished or be his personal maid? Which do you prefer?" My mother was trying to go easy on me as well as she could. "If you are married to him, you'll be a Luna. Don't you want to be a Luna?" "I don't want to be his Luna," I screamed, emphasizing on the word his. "Why would anyone want to be married to Lucas? Not me. I choose to be banished." My scream was on reflex, but I meant the words I said. "What?" My mother stood in shock, watching me. She must have been wondering if this was the little child she had given birth to many years ago. "You must not be serious." "Unfortunately, I am, If there's nothing else you can do for me, then I'll happily leave this clan, then marry that fool who would only use me." I insisted. No, Naomi, you can't do this. You can't." My mother's tears were running down her cheeks. I looked away. I could see the pain in her eyes, but I knew I could never listen to her. I would never get married to Lucas. I was already in bandage, being kept in this palace without knowing my route, so I knew getting married to Lucas would make my situation worse. I wanted to find out who I was. I wanted to know whose root I was from. I wanted to find my mate and not just go into an arranged marriage. A fully grown woman like me should know what I want, and I certainly knew that I couldn't continue like this. I needed to make a change in my life. As I left my mother's room, I knew I should start packing my bags. As I passed the large window beside her room, I saw Cleo and the girls. They welcomed her guest, and I could see the happiness on their faces. Many times in the past I wished I was like them, but not anymore. I wanted to find my destiny, and that was what I was going to do. I walked out of my room with the little box I had packed. I had finally decided to go into exile, then stay here and be a toy in the hands of Lucas and his accomplices. I couldn't wait for the Alpha to ask me out. I had to go on my own. After the discussion I had with my mother yesterday, I knew there was no hope for me in this palace. How was I supposed to stay silent with everything going wrong in my life? Lucas was about to make me his slave in the name of his wife, and no one saw anything wrong with it. After all, you guys aren't related. Everyone said to me like it was some sort of acceptable. I knew I was going to lose the comfort I enjoyed as a princess of the royal house, but I was willing to take that risk as far as I had my freedom. My father's inheritance was taken away from him by this royal palace. I just needed who it was that ordered the death of my father. Was it Lucas or Alpha King Magnus? Who was it that made a helpless 8-year-old fatherless? I was angry that I was being forced to love this life and stay here in this palace pretending like everything was okay. I was also angry that my mother, who used to be fearless, had suddenly lost her voice to speak on my behalf and for herself too. I couldn't bear it anymore. The only memories I would miss was the one I had with the girls. When I had first arrived at the palace, it was Cleo that welcomed me. "Hello, my name is Cleo, and you?" She offered me a handshake, which I accepted. Her hair was blonde at that time, and I thought she looked like a real angel. "My name is Naomi," I replied, returning the smile. She introduced me to her younger sisters, who were as playful as her. They taught me how to bake a cake and how to make a snowman, too. It was here that I learned that the stars could be so beautiful at night. As we grew older, they taught me patience because at some point we had to tolerate the excess of the other person. We were like the 4 little pigs, only that this time we were 4. Their mother equally treated me as her child, buying chocolates for me and making sure I didn't go hungry. I was grateful to her for accepting me, but it was time for me to go. The Alpha King had a meeting at his chambers, as I heard, and I knew I was the topic of the meeting. My mother, Luna Rechiel, and Lucas were all present, finding a solution to my stubbornness, according to them. I overheard the king telling them that I needed to stop being stubborn and agree to marry Lucas, since the fate of the clan depended on the marriage. I listened to hear what exactly depended on my marriage with Lucas. Why is my life being used as a bait for the clan? I questioned myself quietly so no one would hear me. Please, my king, let's find another way instead of making her go into exile. She's the only one I have, and I can't let her go. Please, my lord. It was my mother. I pitied her. Sometimes I wished I was not her only child, so she could have someone else by her side when things like this get to my head. Yes, my lord, exile is not a good idea. After all, she is a member of this family. Luna Richel spoke on my behalf. I'm not going to exile her, really. I just want to put that fear in her so she can find out what she's in for. Alpha King Magnus replied, and I smiled, nodding my head. Well, I'm not coming back. I replied and then barged into the room without knocking. I would like to know why my marriage and my life is being used as bait for the good of the clan. Can I understand why? Naomi? My mother screamed in annoyance. You can't barge in like that. Luna Rachel said to me, trying to calm the situation. How dare you? Lucas barked at me. How dare you barge into the royal chambers without being called in? Do you want your head on a platter? I had never seen Lucas visibly angry, so I didn't talk back to him, but kept quiet. I wasn't afraid of him, I just decided to keep quiet to maintain the peace in the palace. Naomi, I didn't call you in. What might be the problem? Alpha signed. Well, I called myself in, I responded. I'm ready to be banished. Can we get it done immediately? I have somewhere to be at, I responded, acting like I didn't give a damn when I did. I was about to lose the only family that I had known since I was a child. I had to act strong so as not to break down in their presence. You really want to leave? Alpha King Magnus asked me, the shock on his face very evident. Naomi, please don't do this. Let's settle this calmly, please. My mother pleaded with me. She was breaking down already, but I refused to look at her. I knew I was going to come back for my mother, certainly not today, but someday, when I had found out what she was hiding from me. Naomi, dear, we can settle this. Please stay. Luna Rechiel pleaded with me, but I wasn't going to give in. She helped my mum sit while consoling her. Naomi, listen to us. Alpha King Magnus was saying, but I looked away from him, which was a sign of disrespect in the highest order. So you finally made up your mind to leave. Lucas walked straight to me. He had a wicked smirk on his face. Who gave you this bad advice? Do you think you can survive outside this palace? Lucas asked me and sharply turned to the Alpha King. Excise me, Your Highness. I'll like to talk to her privately. Alpha King Magnus nodded, giving his permission, so I had to follow. Let's go. He waited, letting me take the lead, but when I didn't move as fast as he wanted, he dragged me by the arm to the garden outside the king's quarters. You think you're smart, is that what you think? Lucas asked me. He faced me, but I didn't look in his eyes. We were at the garden beside the palace chambers. I'm not acting smart. I'm only trying to save myself. That's all, I answered. Save yourself from what? From a monster like you, I said, not missing a beat. He laughed. You can't run away from me. I'm everywhere and at all times, too. I'll do everything I can to expose you, Lucas, everything in my power. That's the funny thing, Naomi. You don't have any power. You're just a spoiled, powerless brat that can do nothing. I don't care what you think. I'm leaving, I insisted. You can't run from me. Naomi, you have to understand this so it'll be easy for us all. Running away will definitely complicate issues, so I advise you to stay here and do as I want. What about what I want? Or doesn't it matter? Doesn't what I want matter to anyone? I asked. I was getting upset with the way he was trying to cajole me into marrying him. I faced him with so much seriousness on my face. Listen to me, I'm tired of saying this, so listen attentively. I would never marry you. I would rather go into exile than marry you. Do you now understand? I heard my ears to demonstrate that I wanted him to hear me properly. I was about to walk out when he viciously dragged me back, holding my arms. You'll regret this, I promise you. I stared at him before leaving. I was going to be careful knowing that Lucas never made an empty threat. He was always intentional about what he said and did. When I went back to the palace, the girls were already waiting patiently for me. Don't tell me it's true. Cleo stood up instantly as she saw me. Tell me it's a lie. She held my hands, caressing them. Tell me you're not leaving. I have to go, Cleo, I said quietly and watched her face crumple in tears immediately. No, Naomi, don't leave, please. Kiara hugged me from behind. It was our thing to hug from behind, and guess who it was? I'm so sorry, Kiara. Why do you have to leave? When are you coming back? Alicia choked me with questions. She was the youngest and would act like a child most of the time, which made me love her the most. Girls, let her be. The Alpha King ordered, and they immediately dispersed to their seats. She has made up her mind to go, and we can't stop her. The king had a disappointed tone. I'm sorry, everyone. I no longer feel happy and content being here. I need to go and going to create a better path for myself. Can I go with you? Kiara asked. I smiled but nodded no in response. You know you can't, Kiara. You have to stay here and make sure that Cleo gets married and that Mother takes care of her health. I told her, referring to Luna Rachel. I also need you to take care of Aunt Isabella. She'll need it. We'll take care of her. You don't have to worry. She'll be taken care of properly. Chloe promised me. Don't forget that we love you and you are always welcomed here. Alicia told me and I felt comforted when I heard that. Girls, you can leave. I would like to talk to Naomi alone. Alpha King ordered. You too, he said, referring to his wives. Luna Rachel helped my mother stand. My mother gave me the warmest hug I had ever received from anybody. Take care of yourself. She kissed me on the forehead. Don't forget your roots, and don't forget me. I love you so much. I love you, Mum. I'll never forget you, I promise. I cleaned the tears on my face and returned the hug. Take care, dear. Luna Rachel held my hand, smiling at me. I will. I responded and watched them leave the chambers sobbing. Are you sure about your decision? Alpha King Magnus asked me. This is the last time I'm going to be asking you this, so think properly before you answer. I looked at Lucas, and I couldn't guess the expression on his face, but I'd rather die than serve that man or have anything to do with him. Yes, I want to leave. I took a deep breath, hoping honestly that I wouldn't regret my decision. I have a friend that's an alpha. You can stay at his clan for the moment as you find your way. He was talking before I interrupted him. Thank you, my lord. I am grateful for your help, but I'd prefer to do this on my own. I said, shocking even Lucas. What do you mean? The king is just trying to help you, and you're proving to be stubborn. I'm grateful to my lord, I bowed. But I'll have to reject the offer. I answered, knowing fully well that this was a plot by Lucas to know my whereabouts and find me. That means you'll leave that suitcase of yours here, Lucas said. Lucas, no. No, Magnus. Since she wants to leave, she can go without anything. Lucas ordered, and the king had nothing to say. Leave everything here. After all, when you came into this palace, you came with nothing, so you'll leave without anything. I smiled at the fruitless efforts of Lucas to make me fail on this journey. I'll do as you wish, I replied, getting on Lucas's nerve the more. He couldn't believe I could let go easily. I hope you get bitten so badly that you come here to beg for forgiveness, he said and walked out of the chambers. Take care of yourself. Alpha King Magnus said his final goodbye. I took the last glimpse of the palace where I spent 13 years of my life and walked away on a journey to find my destiny. Little did I know that my true journey had begun. I was leaving Ice-crest Wolf Pack, all by myself and for the first time ever. It was overwhelming to think that I had finally left Lucas behind me. He was all in the past, and I needed to think about my future. The life I wanted to live from henceforth didn't require any distractions from my past. I wanted to find out my legacy. I wanted to know how my father died, and what really happened. Was he murdered or killed? I had been walking for hours now and looking around. There was no village or clan nearby. For a minute, I regretted not accepting Alpha King Magnus's offer. It didn't make sense to me anymore, so I had to sit for a while. I prayed and hoped that I wouldn't encounter any strange creature in this strange place where I had found myself. "Please send me a helper, O moon goddess." I prayed desperately, hoping she would hear me. I looked around to see if there was something I could eat, but I didn't find a thing. I was surrounded by trees and wild vegetation, and my eyes already felt like they were spinning. I was cold, hungry, and battered as I continued my journey. It was getting late equally, and I needed a place to sleep for the night. I searched with my eyes for shelter, and I walked with my poor, weak legs. It was getting frustrating, but I dared not regret taking this major step in my life. Then suddenly, but immediately, something grazed my elbow. I looked at my arm, and there was blood all over. I looked around to see what it was that had grazed my elbow. Then I heard growls from behind me. They were deep and resonant. I was about to scream when I came face to face with its dark brown gaze, but I stopped myself. It was a lion or something that had started out as one. Its front legs were definitely not that of the typical jungle cat, and it had a scar running from the top of its face and into its beard. It looked hungry and furious. I didn't know how to leave this dangerous situation that I have found myself in. I remembered years ago how my father had taught me to navigate situations like this. My father was a warrior, and at 8 years old, he taught me everything I needed to know about basic fighting skills and how to face such situations like this. I could remember everything he had told me, but I was rusty at it because I hadn't practiced for a very long time while I was at the palace. It was not like they would allow me to duel or hunt for anything. I tried to charge at the hungry creature standing in front of me. It was ready to devour me. I had to stand my ground because I wasn't going to be killed by a lion without putting up a fight, especially when I was on a journey. "Duck!" I heard a distant shout. I didn't know if it was my instincts, but I ducked immediately, and I felt an arrow pass overhead. Then it found its way into the body of the lion. It cried out but couldn't charge forward anymore, and withdrew, charging back into the forest with a pained whimper. I looked back to see where the arrow came from, but I saw nothing. "Hello," I called, but no response, just total silence. "Who's that?" "What are you doing all alone here?" the voice asked. I knew it was a man because of his deep baritone voice. I turned sharply, and then I saw him. He had stunning features that made him look different from werewolves I have seen. He had piercing eyes that shone with determination and focus. He walked slowly to me with the grace and agility of a predator. When he was close by, his scent was earthly and primal. "I asked a question," he said, standing fully in front of me now. "Why are you out here alone?" "I'm on a journey to discover my destiny," I said, and he smiled, then laughed when he saw that I meant what I said and wasn't joking. "In a dangerous forest? You want to die before discovering your destiny?" he asked with all seriousness, then took my hand as he dragged me along with him. I didn't know why, but I didn't refuse to follow him. All I knew was that he saved me, and it was probably safer for me to follow him than remain in this forest any longer. He didn't leave my hand even for a second as we continued walking. I was so tired, but I didn't have any choice but to follow my savior. We got to where the earth dipped into a valley and then stopped. "This is a safe land. You can go on finding your destiny from here. At least you're sure that you're not going to die." "What?" I was too overwhelmed, and I didn't have any words. At some point, I thought he was going to take me home, wherever his home was. He was already leaving. "Thank you," I said, but he didn't respond. "Hello." He was walking too fast to hear me, but I had to run after him. "Hello. Please, can you take me with you?" I pleaded when I was sure he could hear me. "No, go back," he said without even looking at me. He walked past me again. "But I have nowhere to go," I screamed after him. "Go back to wherever you're coming from." I couldn't let him go. He saved my life, and he could also help me find a place to stay. I ran after him again. "Please, can you provide me a place to sleep for the night?" I asked, and he stopped walking. "Please, just for a night?" "I can't help you," he told me, but I stopped him again. "Please help me." I was holding on to his arm in desperation at this point. I was visibly tired, and I had to bend over to be able to breathe properly. "Only for a night, and that's it. You leave the next morning." When he looked up, He didn't look like the harsh guy he seemed to me some moments ago. His eyes brightened when he looked down at me. "Let's go." Then we commenced another round of walking, just that this time he didn't hold my hand. I had to take breathing breaks and then run after him. I was just glad that someone was helping me. After a few minutes of total silence, apart from the occasional noises from the animals in the forest, he opened his mouth to say, "We are here." I looked up to see the place he brought me to. As we got closer, I could make out a small village. The entrance was hidden behind a thick curtain of leaves, creeping vines and trees, which probably served as a protection against other clans and wildlife. The village was divided into different chambers and corridors. I saw different werewolves in their wolf form as we walked past, and men, women, and children going about their daily routine. As we entered one of the biggest buildings, it immediately felt like home. It felt like I was stepping into a peaceful sanctuary filled with tranquility and comfort. The main hall, as written on a board in front of it, was big and huge. On it was boldly written a phrase, "Stormclaw Clan." "This is the Stormclaw Clan." He announced it to me. "This is my clan and where I grew up. Thank you," I told him gratefully. "Don't thank me yet. You have to meet the head of the clan, and if she accepts for you to stay, then you stay. If not, you leave." That was very discouraging news. I wondered if the alpha of the clan didn't want me here, where I was going to stay. I prayed in my heart that whatever the criteria was, that I would pass it. He took me to the chamber that was dark except for the light candles at the corners. "Wait here," he said to me, and I sat in the only chair there. "The alpha will be here soon." He told me while he stood beside me. My eyes were weak by now, and I was so hungry that I could probably eat a whole cow all by myself. I didn't even realize that the alpha was already in the room until I was told by the strange man to stand and greet him. "Good evening, my lord." I greeted and bowed as it should be, even though I couldn't see who I was greeting properly. He smiled at me. "I like your courage." He turned to the strange man. "Mascot, give her some food, give her some clothes, make sure she has some rest, then bring her back to me." "But," Mascot was about to oppose the alpha. "Do as you have been instructed," the alpha ordered. I followed the young man, who I had now found out his name was Mascot, out of the chambers into another room that was much more beautiful than the one we left. "Laura?" He called out to a woman who looked my age when she came out. "Yes, master. Take care of her. The king requests that she be given food, given clothes, and brought back to him. Make sure she rests too." He ordered her and was about to leave before turning to me. "Remember, you have to appear before the alpha tomorrow. Dress well and rest." He turned to leave. "Thank you for your help," I said, making sure he heard me, but he gave me no response. It didn't matter what was going on with him. All that mattered was that I had a shelter over my head and I was not in danger anymore. That was more important to me. "Come on in." The lady welcomed me. "Thank you for welcoming me." "It all depends on the alpha. He is the one who would reject or accept and welcome you." Laura announced it to me. I was curious as to why he didn't reject me immediately, so I asked Laura. "He should have rejected me immediately and not let me stay for even a night," I told her. "I believe he wants to hear from the moon goddess." She responded, and it sounded funny to me. Trying to find out if the moon goddess will accept me? That was the funniest thing I had heard. So people talk to the moon goddess? After my father's death, I stopped believing that she existed, because if she did, she wouldn't have let my father die and not do anything. She was just a fallacy that most people believed in. I only prayed to her out of necessity these days, not expecting anything. What I intended to do was to get some rest, take some food and clothes with me, and get ready for my journey tomorrow. Laura helped me get the bath ready, and I took the most refreshing bath in my life. I ate to my fullest, and she also gave me some comfortable clothes to wear. She watched me eat, and I knew she was wondering why a young girl like me was wandering the whole territory. "You can ask me any questions that you have," I told her, scoping my food into my mouth. "Is it that obvious?" She laughed. "You've been staring so intently, so I believe you have questions for me." "Who are you?" she asked, and I remembered that I hadn't introduced myself to her yet. "My name is Naomi. I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself. I must have been so hungry that I forgot my manners. I ate more of the soup offered to me. This is very good, I pointed at the soup. That's our native food, asigu. It was the first ever soup our ancestors made and ate in this same land. We made sure we gave it to any visitor to welcome the person. I wasn't really paying attention to the history of the soup, but I nodded as she continued speaking. She said lots of things about the soup, but I wasn't really interested in that. Thank you for welcoming me. I'm glad. It's nice to meet you. I'm Laura, Mascot's girlfriend. She introduced herself formally. Oh, that was all I could say. The spoon I was using to eat stopped halfway to my mouth as I thought about what she said. We are going to get married soon enough. She said again. She was so obviously happy about him because I could notice that she was blushing as she spoke to me about him. Your boyfriend saved me from being a lion, I said to her. I wanted to thank him, but he seemed to be in a hurry. He is a hunter, a very strong one. He is also a kind soul. She spoke so highly of him. It wasn't any of my business, but it seemed she was the only one upholding this relationship. I'm so grateful to both of you, I said. Finally. Me, I didn't do a thing, I only followed orders. She was a humble one. I'm still grateful, I said, not trying to drag the issue. You have a long day tomorrow. I think you should go to sleep now. She said to me, take this. She offered me a cozy blanket and a soft pillow. Thank you, I'm grateful to you, I said, taking the blanket and fluffing the pillow, realizing that tomorrow was a big day for me. As she had said,